Hi there, Audrey here from Truly Silver. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a bracelet using a set of silver plated tongs. So these are vintage silver plated tongs, which I think people used to use to pick up sugar cubes and the likes. So I'm going to try and make them into a bracelet. This is the first time I've done this, so it's a bit of a trial and error. I've had to look at some other ones to get some ideas, so we'll see how we get on. So they started off looking like this, and I have been hammering away to get them looking a little bit flatter. So I hammered the ends and I've been trying to manipulate them a little bit. It's quite tricky with silver plate because it's hard. It's not like silver that you can heat up to make it softer and anneal it, because if you did that to this, all the silver plate would just melt off it. So we just have to kind of manipulate it and play with it a wee bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I've decided I want to make it a little bit shorter, so I'm going to saw off these end parts here. So I'll do that just now and show you how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to move this a little bit so you can see my workbench a bit better. There we go. So on my bench here I have got a block, so it was a good nice solid base. I've got a bit of wood on top just because it stops things getting scratched as much. And I'm working with this saw today, which is a kind of U-shaped saw. It's very nifty, this saw, because you can adjust the size of it, and it takes little fine blades which are great for cutting bits of silver. So let's see, I've started cutting into this, and I'm just going to finish that off. Off the end there. I didn't show you all of it because it was getting a bit boring. Didn't take too long. With these saws you have to be really careful that you don't press too hard. I find if you press too hard, this little thin blade breaks very easily. I've broken quite a few. I think they're really designed for silver, and with this being silver plate, what's underneath is a bit harder. But it's done the job not too bad. It's a bit of a rough edge, so we'll have to sand that. So I'm going to go ahead and take off this side, and then I'll show you the next part. I'll just show you the nice pattern that's on this. It's a good thing about these tongs, they've got beautiful patterns, so they make really nice bracelets. Now I've got this nifty little tool which has got lovely nylon jaws, which means they don't scratch. So if you use things like this, which are metal, they dig in and they scratch metal. So if you're trying to make something that's really pretty and shiny, you're going to kind of scuff it up and ruin it a bit. So things that are nylon are fab. So you get nylon pliers, you also get nylon hammers, which means you can hit stuff to get it flat, which is what I did with this to flatten it out to begin with, and it won't scratch it. So these are kind of bracelet shaped. If you can see that you put something in the middle, not a finger, but you get the idea, and it bends them round. So I'm going to have a go at that with this. Now I think it'll work for some of it, and it's even just good because it gives you a good grip on whatever it is you're using. But I think in this middle part, which is wider, it's probably not going to be strong enough. It's designed really for working with the likes of silver, which is softer. But what is good about it is you can get a grip on things, you can hold it in your other hand. Sometimes it's good to put a cloth in the other hand, it stops it digging into your hand, which can make it harder. Excuse me. And even if it just gives you a bit of grip, so we can start bending this and manipulating it into the shape we want, which is a kind of bangle shape. So you can see it's starting to get a little bit more bangle shape. It's a bit of a wonky bangle shape. Something that I really need to get is some sort of bangle shaped piece of metal that I can, you do get like bangle mandrels, I think is that how you say it, mandrels. So I've got a ring one, which I use for shaping rings, and you can slide the ring over the top and hit it. So I need to get a bigger one for bangles, but I've not invested in one of them yet. I also want to get a wooden one of these because the metals kind of scratches things. I did buy this, which was just from a DIY shop, which is a metal leg actually, tube, but it's a bit small, so it does help shape it, but it's not really bangle size. So I'm just going to work away on this. I had to go with the pliers, but they're tending to kind of slide off. They're not getting a good enough grip and they're not strong enough to squeeze the shape. So, don't know what that was, loud noise. I've got my tube, just a hole in it, and I have used a thing that I can't remember the name of. What is this called? A vise? A small vise? A mini vise? I think so. Okay, anyway, I've used this. You buy them in B&Q in little sets or in a DIY store. I've put this pad in the middle to stop the metal part scratching the bracelet. I've kind of squeezed it on, and what I'm going to do now is push this down in the table to try and shape it round to create the rounded edge. And even though this is smaller, it still creates a rounded edge that I need. I'll just tilt so you can see a bit better. Can you see a bit better? Yes, I really need to get some sort of stand. I'll raise this up. There we go. Is that a bit better? So I'm just pushing down on this, which is the right kind of shape. And the problem always is you have too many bits here, there and everywhere. But it does. Now I'm not terribly strong, which makes things trickier. I watch men in videos doing these things and they seem to find them a lot easier, I think, because they've got big muscles, unlike me, who's a bit of a wimp. But you can see it's starting to shape a bit more. So I'm going to give it a bash with a hammer. You can see you get a lovely shape when you bash it with a hammer. I really just need to get a bigger one. And now what I think I'll do is I'm going to swap to the other side to get this side more curved. So I'll do that. See, one side's quite nicely curved, so I'm going to try and curve this side now. So I've got my little bit of tubing, my little vise over the top, and I'm going to slide this in here. And the tricky bit is kind of working out which bit do you want curved. So find the bit you want curved and put that in, kind of at the middle of where you want the curve to be. Tighten this up to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to push it down on the piece of wood. The good thing about the piece of wood is it's not going to scratch it. If anybody knows where you get some sort of little stand for your phone for videoing, can you let me know? Because they just slide everywhere. And I'm never going to get time to do a video camera and get round to editing. So I'm going to give that a bit of a force, and it's curving quite nicely. You can see. I'll give the top a whack with the hammer, and then that's it sliding out. Let's see, can we keep it in? No, it's sliding out. But we've actually almost there. We've almost got a bracelet shape. It's a bit of a wonky bracelet shape, so let's try and give it another go. So I think the lesson to be learned here is the easiest way to do this would be to buy a bracelet mandrel. But I like to give myself a challenge because I'm silly like that. And I think it's very easy to spend a lot of money buying tools from craft websites. If you're not going to use them that much, you really kind of think, am I going to make 20 bracelets? Is it worth me buying a bracelet mandrel? Well, maybe it is. Don't know. It's going to slide out again, I think. Oh, maybe not. Can I move it? Right. The trick is just getting a kind of nice curved shape. Let's see. So we're getting there. It's a bit wonky, but with a bit of manipulation it's going to be almost even. And then my plan was to add some little joining device here. I have nice little clips that you can attach either end and have a magnet in the middle to hold it together. I thought I could add a nice little charm. The only thing is, when I thought of that, I hadn't thought about the fact that this isn't very wide, so you're going to need a little hole in that to attach this clip. Don't know if that's going to work, so I might just make it actually more of a cuff that you can slide on and off. You can't slide it on and off just now because I've not filed it, but we're almost there, aren't we? Almost looks like a nice little bracelet. So like all these things, you can buy it from somebody else who's spent the time doing it, which is what I do in my shop, make these things for people to buy. Or if you want to have a go yourself and you've got some bits and pieces of tools, have a go. Make a bracelet from a pair of tongs. Hope you've enjoyed watching my video. I'm going to finish this off now, give it a wee polish, see if I can smooth off the edges. I sell lots of goodies like this, things made with cutlery. I also do a lot of hand stamping on my shop. My shop is my shop is Truly Silver. It's an Etsy shop, so if you search for Truly Silver on Etsy you'll find loads of goodies, so please pop over and have a little look there. Thanks for watching, bye. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe to my channel. I've also got a few other videos with things like how to use head pins to make pearl beads and crystal beads, a bit about spoon rings, some hand stamping tips. So pop over to my channel and have a look at my other videos. Thanks for watching. Catch ya!